Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I'm Darshan Usman. The top stories this hour. Nigeria's electricity power generation capacity hits new peak of 5,713 megawatts. Reactions trail 48-hour ultimatum as Fubara talks tough. Guinea-Bissau's president seeks re-election in delayed vote. Details of these stories and more shortly. We begin the news this hour with the good news of Nigeria's electric power generation capacity reaching a new peak of 5,713.60 megawatts, according to the Transmission Company of Nigeria. This marks the highest power output since 2021, surpassing the previous peak of 5,543.20 megawatts recorded in February 2025. TCN confirmed that the full 5,713 megawatts was successfully transmitted across the country. While the new peak falls short of the all-time high of 5,801.60 megawatts reached in March 2021, it remains a significant milestone. Additionally, Nigeria set a new record for maximum daily energy, reaching 125,542.06 megawatt hours, exceeding the previous record of 125,159.48 megawatts hour set just last month. Nigeria's federal government says that it will leverage the use of technology to monitor mining operations around the country. This was made known by the Minister of Solid Minerals Development while speaking to newsmen after the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja, where he says that the council has approved the purchase of satellite equipment at the cost of 2.5 billion naira to monitor mining operations and end the menace of illegal mining in the country. Amadine Uyi reports.
The meeting was chaired by President Bola Tinubu with cabinet members in attendance. After the meeting, some ministers gave details of what transpired at the executive chambers of the council. First, the Minister of Works, David Umahi.
4 memos approved by by the Federal Executive Council. The first one was approval for the award of contract for the dualization of Oduopani E2, spur at Idendem Etam in Ekote Bene Road in Cross River and Akwa Ibom State. And the total amount is 55 billion. The next one is the approval for the award of contract for the dualization of Ibadan Elori Road, Section 2, which is in Oyo Ogbomosho in Oyo State. You had asked questions about this road. God has helped it to come to be approved. It's 147 kilometers in favor of JRBs to be constructed on a reinforced concrete pavement. You have another one, approval for the completion of outstanding of Abuja Kaduna Zaria Kano Road. This time is Section 2. That's 82 kilometers by 2. That's 164 kilometers. And it's awarded for 507 billion. And then the last one is the construction of a flyover at Abakpa, bordering 82 Division, Enugu. A flyover is to be constructed to relieve, traffic jam there. And the contractor is CCECC, and the amount is 24 billion.
Then the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alaki.
Today at the FEC, a memo was approved for the Solid Minerals Ministry, specifically to procure an integrated solution framework to combat unlicensed, unregulated, underreported mining activities.
Alake says that government is introducing technology to its monitoring of mining operations in the country.
With all of these policy initiatives that are working, we'll still see the need to introduce technology into our overall tactics and strategy. And that is the basis of today's memo that was approved by FEC. So we are procuring satellite equipment, satellite gadgets that will be installed in strategic places all over the country. Nigeria is so vast. So to police every inch of a large territory is almost impossible. So what we have to do is to introduce gadgets, technological gadgets that can enable us to see what's going on even in the remotest parts of the country.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation says that another Executive Council meeting has been fixed for Wednesday, March the 5th. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
Away from that, reactions have continued to trail developments in Rivers State as Governor Siminalayi Fubara talks tough, assuring his supporters that victory is inevitable despite the political challenges in the state. Fubara took the stands during the commissioning of the Government House staff quarters at the Forces Avenue in Port Harcourt. Now, he noted that it's not just about winning, but about standing for truth and fighting gallantly, adding that the era of deception in the state is over as the state is now determined to take control of its destiny. Now, this comes as the House of Assembly gave Governor Fubara 48 hours to present the 2025 budget to the lawmakers.
I want to assure you, all our supporters, I know the news that broke out on Friday must have dampened your spirit. Based up, what is ahead is more than what we just passed. So, as a human being, I know you feel somehow, but just relax. God has our back. Our back is not on anybody, it's God. I want to thank you for your support and assure you that if there is one person on this planet Earth that will continue to stand by you, I will be that person. I assure you that I will lead you with honor. I will lead you with respect. And I will lead you with integrity, knowing that when I leave here, I will have questions to answer. If I'm called upon 20 years, 30 years from today, I want to be proud to defend my position.
The Ijaw National Congress has issued a strong warning against any attempt to impeach Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, threatening that it cannot guarantee peace in the Niger Delta region if such actions are pursued. Now, the INC condemned last Friday's Supreme Court ruling, which affirmed 27 lawmakers loyal to Minister Nyesom Wike as the legitimate members of the State House of Assembly, describing the decision as potentially destabilizing for the region. INC President Professor Benjamin Okaba criticized the ruling for overlooking the Ijaw people's historical and political contributions to the state's leadership. He stressed that undermining Governor Fubara's position could have severe consequences for both national peace and the region's economic stability. Now, for more on developments in Rivers State, I was earlier joined by Professor Kenneth Nweke, a professor of politics and governance. Let's bring you his thoughts.
Of course, the judgment that came from the Supreme Court was something that almost, yes, on one hand, some people celebrated, some people didn't celebrate, but again, when you put them together, what is in the best interest of Rivers State? That's what matters. It is not about the contending forces, but what matters is that what is the overall interest of Rivers people. Number one, of course, you find that Supreme Court reinforced the earlier judgment given by the Federal High Court, suspending further allocations to Rivers State. And so what is the effect of that judgment, assuming that the parties do not comply?
Now, for more on developments in Rivers State, I am joined by Precious Elekema. Precious is the chairman, Concerned Rivers State Elders Forum, and former governorship candidate under the SDP. Thank you for joining us on the news, sir. You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Now, Precious, some argue that, the Supreme Court ruling only applied to the 2024 budget. Would love to hear your thoughts on the ruling, and also how do you respond to those who see the State Assembly's actions as an overreach?
Well, thank you. This is my position, but first of all, know that I'm not a lawyer, so I shouldn't be held responsible in case
okay.
Yeah, it doesn't seem right. But my position is that one part of the judgment appears inadmissible. It's like somebody telling somebody, jump to the sky. Asking somebody to go to the mortuary, wake up a dead body to come and cook. Because if the Supreme Court, going by the Justice Omotosho's judgment, says Barbara should go and represent the 2024 budget to the Amewule-led assembly. That money has been spent. It has been used, so you can only present an unspent budget. This one has been spent. So telling them to go and present budget for 2024, like I said, it's like a judgment that goes nowhere. And that is why you see the Amewule Assembly, instead of writing to represent 2024, they have gone to 2025. And the judgment, from what I saw, from what they are saying, is 2024 that was reaffirmed by the Supreme Court. So there appears to be no way. That's my impression about the one about representing budget. The other part of it that says that they should they accept the local government elections are invalid, that has been complied with. So if I look at it, Sobra will be able to reconduct the local government elections in his own way, at his own time. So I don't see him having so much problem. But I don't see them also be able to hold him to say that the Supreme Court says go and represent 2025 budget. I didn't hear that from the judge.
I was actually going to ask what challenges, does the Assembly's demand for the 2025 budget, within 48 hours pose for Governor Fubara?
No, I don't see, because the judgment is 2024 budget to be represented. So they have gone to 2025. Now the issue is that as at 2025, are they members of the Assembly? That is a matter that is before the Federal High Court. By the time they took this case to the Federal High Court in Abuja, they were members of the Assembly. And the Supreme Court could not expand themselves beyond what is the appeal before them. Now they have come out of the appeal with the judgment 2024 budget to be represented, which is past, spent, and gone. Now we are talking about 2025 budget. At the time 2025 had come, there has been a twist. They are purported or supposed to have been defected, and by the law or constitution or whatever, they are no more members of the Assembly, which is now before a court. So where do we proceed from there? 2024 judgments had been passed. We have passed 2024. That's what I said. It's like casting somebody jump to the sky, which you cannot jump to the sky. Where will you get to? You can't even get to the point of a 5-story building. How much more going to the sky? So I think that this judgment has, I don't think the judgment is neither here nor there.
Okay, so
I don't know those who are celebrating it. I don't know where they are celebrating it to. And those who are angry, maybe the local government elections that the ones that was annulled, maybe that is what those whose elections were annulled can be worried about. But for me, as far as I am concerned, the issue of Cobra going to represent a 2024 budget is dead. It's a deal, it's dead on arrival.
So what about the 12-week recess, by the Assembly? Do you think that it is a genuine effort? Do you think that it is actually a genuine effort to keep governance on track, or, a political move to pressure the government? And also, the Assembly has actually scheduled for a recess, right? How do you think that this timeline will hinder Governor Fubara's ability to respond effectively?
No, I don't see him responding to 2024 budget. He has spent the money. So what was before the Supreme Court? Look, let us say, okay, the Supreme Court could not attend to this matter until the end of 2024. So they had attended to this matter, and the time has passed. What will we do with this judgment? Can he bring back 2024 budget? Okay, assuming now he represents the budget before them and they don't agree with him, what happens to the money they have spent? If you have paid somebody salaries and they said, no, this salary is not, we don't agree with it, will he bring back the money? If some monies have been used to pay for some item and he says, this is the budget, will they, where will they recover the money? Will Fubara be asked to go and bring back the money? From where? So I think that while I allow the Supreme Court judgment, they have done well, but it appears that it is going to nowhere. Now they have brought us back to a more difficult position. By 2025, these people are no more lawmakers. They have defected. And that case is before the Federal High Court. Are we going to say that? Are we going to say that because they have said that they should represent 2024 budget, will we now say that Supreme Court judgment had overridden the case before the Federal High Court, talking about their defection? So I am talking not as a lawyer, but common sense tells me that this judgment is like telling somebody to jump to the sky. And since nobody can jump to the sky, the judgment becomes inadmissible.
Okay.
That's my position.
All right. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us, Mr. Precious.
Thank you. Thank you.
And let's move over to the dramatic turn of events at the Lagos State House of Assembly, where the impeached Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, was re-elected at plenary on Monday. The move follows the sudden resignation of Mojisola Miranda, who replaced Obasa as Speaker 7 weeks ago. Now, reports of Obasa's return as Speaker of the Assembly began as mere speculations, but quickly transformed into a high-stakes power shift with heightened security, tense moments, and strategic resignations. News Central's lead correspondent, Bernard Akede, was at the House and brings us the latest.
For over a week, uncertainty loomed over the Lagos State House of Assembly. Political watchers and stakeholders anticipated a shake-up, but no one could have predicted just how choreographed the day's events would unfold. By morning, the atmosphere around the Assembly complex was already changed. Security operatives were deployed in greater numbers, visibly armed and stationed at strategic points. Certain roads leading to the premises were cordoned off, and all vehicles entering the premises were subjected to thorough searches. Meanwhile, a directive from the acting clerk of the House instructed legislative staff to work from home, a move that sparked concerns among workers. The chairman of the Labour Congress Lagos chapter weighed in on the issue.
There has been a directive that the workers should stay away for some days. And we've also seen another counter directives that ordered the workers to come back to work today. So, all this pushing around is something that is also of another concern to us.
Then, by afternoon, the signs began to clear. Lawmakers began arriving at the assembly complex one after another, signaling that a plenary session was imminent. Soon after, the legislators gathered inside the chamber and the session commenced. First, a series of speeches followed, with lawmakers taking turns to pay tribute to Speaker Mojisola Meranda.
Because you are a bridge builder, you are a team player, and you've shown us love. You've shown affection to every one of us.
But then the real drama began. One after the other, key lawmakers started resigning from their positions. Each resignation was swiftly followed by nominations and votes to fill the vacancies.
Resignation as Deputy Chief of the local Lagos State House of Assembly.
Then came the moment that had been widely speculated. Speaker Mojisola Meranda formally announced her resignation. As she stepped down, the chamber erupted in applause.
At this point, I take a bow as your speaker, and I step down as your speaker of this great house.
However, in a swift and unexpected twist, she was immediately nominated for the position of Deputy Speaker. Without contest, she was voted in, paving the way for the final act of the day's unfolding political script. With the Speaker's seat now vacant, a nomination was put forward. The name called was that of Right Honorable Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa, the man who had been impeached just days earlier. In a unanimous decision, he was reinstated as the 10th Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly.
So as I have said, today is not the speech-making day. We will really create time to come back and address it.
Outside the Assembly complex, a mix of emotions played out. Supporters of Honorable Meranda cheered as she left, while reactions inside the chamber reflected the weight of the moment. As the dust settles on this political reset, many questions remain. What led to the behind-the-scene negotiations that orchestrated this transaction? And what does this mean for the power dynamics within the Lagos State House of Assembly moving forward? For now, however, one thing is certain. The Lagos House of Assembly has once again proven to be a stage where political scripts unfold with precision. And after a long week of drama, the barricades behind me have finally been taken away, and one by one, the security vehicles are beginning to depart the Lagos House of Assembly. Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa has been reinstated as the 10th Speaker of the House of Assembly, and his deputy being Honorable Mojisola Meranda. The drama has been long and has been worth watching. But the question is this the end? In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll tell you how Kwara police rescue kidnapped victim, arrest 2 suspects. Details of this and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, the Nigerian Army Resource Center has tasked media professionals to work with the military in tackling insecurity and developmental challenges in the country. The Director General of the center, Major General Garba Wahab, retired, made this known to newsmen in Abuja during an engagement with defense correspondents, saying that the media can contribute immensely to ridding the nation of insecurity challenges and restoring peace back to troubled communities.
And it says in a modernized society like Nigeria, security is development. Development is security. Without security, you can't be developed. And without development, you can't be secure. The two goes together. So we are pursuing security for us to be developed. If you are not secured, there can't be security, because the money, the funding, the budget meant for other areas will always go to security. And those who are not even involved will always add under security to do some things. And so we must all work as a team to ensure that the system moves on.
Still talking security, the Kwara State Police Command has successfully rescued an abducted victim, Sule Saidu, who was kidnapped from the Ahuro Fulani camp in Ifelodun local government area on Friday night. According to the police public relations officer, Adetong Ejire Adeyemi, a swift operation led to Saidu's rescue and the arrest of 2 key suspects on Saturday. Saidu was taken by 5 armed men at around 11 p.m., but police operatives tracked the gang to the Babanla Oreke area, leading to a gun battle. During the confrontation, one abductor was neutralized while 2 others, 40-year-old Ibrahim Shehu and 25-year-old Muhammad Lawal, were arrested. However, 2 suspects escaped with gunshot wounds. Police have urged the public to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities. The national president of the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Othman Ngilzarma, has called on farmers and herders in Plateau State to do all within their power to keep the peace in the state. The association's president was speaking in Jos, the state capital, while responding to questions from journalists on the state's security challenges. Correspondent Chizoba Anyonwe tells us more.
The Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association is a household name, being an umbrella body of all the pastoralist groups in Nigeria. Noting that one of the major causes of violent attacks in Plateau State in the recent past has been farm destruction by unguarded cattle, the national president of MAGBAN says peaceful coexistence is paramount. His visit to Plateau State further seeks to address this cause.
Allowing animals to stray into people's farms to make farm destructions. We don't like that, we don't condone it, so wherever we find ourselves in a particular state, we ensure that after introducing the leadership to the government and the security agencies, we'll also extend our hands of fellowship to the leadership of farmers across the state. And not only that, and to all other non-state actors that are working to ensure security in the state.
He's optimistic that after his meeting with the governor of Plateau State, the new executive will enthrone measures that will further sustain the existing peace in the state.
Plateau is relatively peaceful now. So we are here today, we have a new leadership here today. After the inauguration, we will hand them over to the executive governor of the state so that they will be working hand in hand in order to sustain the relative peace that we have and in order to improve it.
While calling on members of the organization to remain peace-loving, members of the press were also urged to remain objective in their reportage of security issues.
I want to use the medium to call on the press. They should stop generalizing things. The way they used to generalize issues. If something happened, immediately somebody is being killed or something bad being happened, they will just say Fulani. Just Fulani before investigation.
When stakeholders join in one voice such as this, there are no doubts that Plateau will sooner than later return fully to the home of peace and tourism it's been known for. In Plateau, for News Central, Chizoba Anyonwe.
Borno State Commissioner for Budget and Planning has officially presented the state's approved 2025 budget totaling over 615 billion naira. During a press briefing in Maiduguri, the commissioner emphasized that the approved budget aims to drive economic recovery, security enhancement, and infrastructural development across the state. During the presentation, the commissioner emphasized that the government remains dedicated to restoring communities affected by insurgency and improving citizens' livelihoods through investment in critical sectors such as education, healthcare, and agriculture. "272 pilgrims from Delta State, South Nigeria, have departed for Israel and Jordan for Christian pilgrimage. During their visit to the Holy Land, they are expected to explore biblical historical sites, seek spiritual enlightenment, pray for personal growth, and intercede on behalf of Delta State and Nigeria. News Central correspondent Austin Azu tells us more.
At the pre-departure brief ceremony at Government House in Asaba, Chairman of the Delta State Pilgrims Welfare Board, Apostle Silvanus Okorete, laid out important guidelines for the trip, thanked Governor Borewori for making funds available for Christians to embark on the holy assignment.
Nobody stays in the room during devotion. Everybody must come out and partake in the devotion. You will take that time to pray, not only for you and your family, but also for His Excellency. Not every governor has done this.
Governor Sheriff Oborewori, represented by Secretary to the State Government, Kingsley Emo, charged the pilgrims to be good ambassadors of the state and Nigeria. In the same vein, Commissioner Bureau for Special Duties Etagure Ejiro, who spoke on security and conduct, also cautioned the pilgrims against engaging in illegal activities.
I think it's very important for you to know that you are ambassadors of the state. Ambassadors don't live by terrible examples. They showcase the qualities of where they come from. You are champions. Not everybody has this privilege to go there.
Respect the state. Respect your family. And also respect the nation. Too much damage for Nigeria. Don't be a contributor to damage our nation.
Some of the pilgrims speak on their expectations at the Holy Land.
It's that God will protect our families, sustain our life and our health, grant our heart desires that are in line with God's wish and desires for us.
Expectations are that after the pilgrimage, when we come back, due to the prayers we have made for the state, I want to see a Delta State that is full of peace. Security. I'm going to really be praying for security in Delta State and the progress of the state, and also for our governor, that God should keep leading him aright.
The contingent thereafter proceeded to Port Harcourt International Airport, where they left the shores of the country through a chartered aircraft and landed at Jordan Airport the next day after 7.5 hours on air. The 272 pilgrims are made up of 172 men, 100 women, and are expected to spend 3 days in Jordan before moving to Israel, as they are expected to spend 10 days in the Holy Land. In Jordan for News Central, Austin Azu.
Coming up after the break, Guinea-Bissau's president seeks re-election in delayed vote. Details after the break. Join us. Now away from Nigeria, Guinea-Bissau's president Umaru Sissoco Embalo has announced his intention to seek re-election in the delayed vote scheduled for November, citing logistical and financial challenges. Returning from a state visit in Russia, Embalo told reporters at the airport that he will be a candidate without a doubt and is going to win right from the first round. Embalo, who was sworn in for a 5-year term in 2020 after a disputed election, faces opposition claims that his term ended last week. Now, tensions have escalated with security forces deployed in the capital amid protests. The country, plagued by political instability since independence, now prepares for elections after Embalo's controversial dissolution of parliament in December 2023. There are high expectations that suggests former Malawi President Arthur Peter Mutharika is poised to win the 2025 presidential elections in Malawi, according to the recent sentiments by citizens. Now, the recent polls shows that voters now associate APM's leadership with economic stability, security, and improved living conditions. Obviously, this trust could translate into electoral support. Now, this comes amid economic turmoil and worsening skyrocketing of essential goods and services under the watch of President Lazarus Chakwera, who the citizens view as a failure. Meanwhile, concerned civil servants in Malawi have warned of organizing a strike over discontent. Now, joining me on the news for more on this, we have Mavuto Bamusi. He is a political analyst and he joins me from Blantyre, Malawi. Thank you so much for joining us, Mavuto.
Thank you, most welcome.
Can you briefly, provide some historical context on Malawi's political landscape for us? Briefly, please.
Currently, Malawi is approaching a very crucial general election on 16 September this year, 2025. And already the political temperature is getting heated up, with now a rise in the wave of protests across all the major cities of Malawi. We saw last week when business persons who sell small-scale business persons called vendors rising up to protest the current surge, the current rise in prices of goods and services. In fact, as we speak, the political economic environment in Malawi is such that the cost of living is rising astronomically. Inflation is hitting the roof over 30%. And at the same time, government of Malawi is squeezed in terms of public expenditures with a rising domestic, with a rising public debt over 80%, and many other parameters, such that right now there is a wave of discontent, like I said earlier on, over the current leadership of President Lazarus Chakwera.
Okay, now, Mavuto, do you see any disconnect between the current government's initiatives and also the expectations of the Malawian electorate?
Yes, indeed. There has been a lot of promises which the leadership of President Chakwera made in the run-up to the 2020 election, in becoming president. Of course, in an alliance called the Tonse Alliance, which is broken today. And then specifically in terms of the connections, the connectedness, or the disconnect between the current leadership of President Chakwera and the people is such that it is the economy which is providing the broken links. So the current administration promised a lot of things, promised to create 1 million jobs, promised to stabilize the economy, promised to make sure that prices are not escalating, things which are not happening at the moment. And on top of that, there is a food crisis that continues to grip Malawi, with a bag of maize selling, now maize is a staple food for Malawi, a bag of maize of 50 kilograms selling at a very exorbitant price. So when one aggregates all these factors, the conclusion really is that there is a continued wave of discontent as well as disconnect between the way government is operating and the wishes as well as the expectations of the people. And this happening when Malawi is approaching 16 September elections should be a matter of concern to the leadership of President Chakwera. And we saw last week, a couple of days ago, when the president was delivering the State of the Nation address in Parliament, a number of projects which were highlighted are things which could not be verified on the ground. Projects like construction of school blocks, construction of police houses, some of which were taken as lies. In fact, the opposition in Parliament categorized the State of the Nation address as a catalogue of lies. And then we have seen the President Chakwera coming back to Parliament to clarify those issues and to indeed say that 2% of the content of the State of the Nation address should be taken out of their Hansard, because indeed those projects could be categorized as lies. So these are some of the things which are making Malawians to really feel that there is a disconnect between government administration and the wishes and the interest of Malawi. And it is also interesting to note that the price of, the availability of fuel has been an issue. A couple of weeks ago, Malawians have had to struggle on long fuel queues, and that is actually a compounding effect coming towards that very crucial election on 16 September. And a number of Malawians, actually, there are polls which are suggesting that President Peter Mutharika, the former president, may actually bounce back to power. The Afro Barometer, a Pan-African poster, actually has suggested that President Peter Mutharika may actually win the 16 September elections.
I'm actually glad you said this, because I was actually about to ask, how you would rate democracies in Africa, talking about Pan-Africans. But then, due to time constraints, this is where we would actually have to wrap up this interview. But thank you so much for speaking to us and for your time. On World Wrap, the U.S. has paused its military aid to Ukraine, with the White House confirming the review of support to ensure it contributes to a lasting solution. Now, the shift follows comments from U.S. President Donald Trump, who criticized Ukrainian President Zelensky's statement that the war's end remains distant. The U.S. has been Ukraine's largest military supporter since Russia's invasion 3 years ago. Meanwhile, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer unveiled a 4-point plan to help Ukraine defend itself. However, European leaders at a recent summit warned that they cannot guarantee peace without continued US support. The situation remains tense as global leaders navigate the ongoing conflict. The National Sports Commission has urged Nigeria's para badminton team to excel as they prepare for 2 major international tournaments in Spain. Now, 5 athletes will compete in the 2025 Spanish Level 2 International Para Badminton Championship from the 4th until the 9th of March, followed by 3 players at the Spanish International Level 1 Championship from the 12th till 16th of March. Among them are Eniola Mariam Bolaji, Nana Chigozie Jeremiah, and Eze Chukwebuka Sunday. They will compete in singles and doubles events. NSC Director General Bukola Olopade emphasized the importance of these tournaments for global recognition and reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to para sports development. The events offer a key opportunity for Nigerian athletes to boost rankings ahead of future Paralympic aspirations. Still in sports, the trial of more than a dozen hardcore AC Milan and Inter Milan fans linked to organized crime begins on Tuesday in Milan. 16 of the 19 people arrested last year face charges including criminal conspiracy aggravated by mafia methods, a charge typically used against Italy's most powerful criminal organizations. The accused allegedly controlled illicit activities around San Siro Stadium, including ticket touting, parking, and unauthorized stadium entry. Among those on trial are Renato Bossetti and Luca Lucci, former leaders of Inter and Milan Ultras. The case follows the murder of Antonio Bellocco, a member of the 'Ndrangheta Mafia, and Andrea Beretta, a former Inter-Ultra leader. Beretta, already imprisoned for the killing, is also among those standing trial. French prosecutors have requested a 1-year suspended prison sentence for Colombian doctor Freddy Gonzalez Torres over doping allegations involving Nairo and Daya Quintana during the 2020 Tour de France. Gonzalez is accused of supplying and administering banned substances to the Colombian brothers while they rode for Arkea Samsic. Authorities seized medical equipment and medication from his hotel room during the race. Prosecutors also seek a €5,000 fine and a 5-year ban from sports-related activities. Gonzalez's lawyer denies doping substances were found and called for acquittal. The doctor was absent from court and a verdict is set for the 2nd of April. In 2022, Nairo Quintana was disqualified from the tour after testing positive for the banned painkiller tramadol. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.